What's going on, everybody? It's ETAPRIME back here again. Today we're going to be taking a look at the brand new Amazon Fire Max 11 tablet. This just happens to be Amazon's most powerful tablet and largest tablet to date. And with that does come a higher price tag, but it's nowhere near some of the other high-end tablets that we've seen on the channel in the past couple years, like the Samsung Galaxy S8 or even the new OnePlus Pad. Now, when it comes down to it, this is an Android tablet. They're just using their own modified Fire OS operating system, which is based on Android, and personally, I'd rather have a stock Android experience. But given the price and specs, I do think that this could be a really awesome deal for some people out there. We've got an 11-inch 2K display, and yeah, it does look really good. Plus a more powerful 8-core CPU with this unit here. Base price on this for the 64GB model is $229, and of course, in a few months, we will see sales run on this. We always do around like Prime Day, around the holidays, we'll see their tablets drop in price. So if this is something that interests you and you don't necessarily need a tablet right now, then you can definitely wait it out. And this would be a great deal if they could knock around 20% off that $229 price tag. But the way it is, it's actually a really great tablet at that price if you need one now. Taking a look around the tablet, down here we've got these 5 pogo pads, and this will allow us to attach their keyboard accessory. By the way, this is the first Fire tablet that offers real stylus support, so you could go ahead and pick up their keyboard and stylus when you pick the tablet up. Down here, we've got USB Type-C. We've also got a micro SD card compartment, our volume up, and our power button / fingerprint sensor. So yeah, this does support fingerprint login. Dual stereo speakers with Dolby Atmos. It does sound good, but it's not quite as loud as something like the Samsung Galaxy Tab S8 or even the iPad Pro. But for the price, I'm not complaining. Does put out some really good sound. Now, when it comes to the specs of the new Fire Max 11, for the CPU, we've got the MediaTek 8188. This is an 8-core ARM SoC. We've got 4 A78 cores running at 2.2 GHz and 4 A55 cores running at 2 GHz. The GPU is the Mali G57 MC2. Really wish this was something like a G71, but it does get us by quite well. 4 GB of RAM. This one here has 64 GB of storage, but you can also opt to pick up their 128 GB model, but both of them do support a micro SD card up to 1 TB. Really fast Wi-Fi 6 plus Bluetooth 5.1 for connecting your favorite accessories like game controllers. An 11-inch IPS display at 2000 by 1200. It's running at 60 Hz and it does look really great. Up to 14 hours of battery life, and this is running Fire OS, which is based on Android 11. Would have been really nice to at least have Android 12 here, and maybe in the future we'll get that update, but it's Android 11 now. So I've spent the last couple days with this tablet, and if you're familiar with these Amazon Fire tablets, you know we don't get Google Play pre-installed. What we've got here is the Amazon App Store, and for a lot of people, this is just fine. There's a lot of apps that we can download here, but it's still very limited when you compare it to Google Play. Now, luckily, with something known as Fire Toolbox, you can actually install Google Play quite easily. You connect it to a PC, works for Windows or Linux. It'll automatically download everything for you, and then you have Google Play. For a lot of the tablets that have been released in the last few years, Fire Toolbox works nicely with it, and this is no different. I was really hoping it would, and I've tested it out. As you can see, we do have access to Google Play. I can go right in here and download my favorite apps. You will have to sign in with your Google account. But, you know, if you wanted to just keep it with the Amazon App Store, it's totally up to you. You could also sideload from third-party markets if you want to, but having Google Play and Google Play services really helps out on a tablet like this. And mainly, it comes down to gaming. A lot of the games that I want to play on a tablet do require Google Play services. Even if I sideload them from a third-party market, it won't launch because it just doesn't work without Google Play services. So Fire Toolbox is a must, at least for me and a lot of other people out there when they're using these Fire tablets. Amazon has always been good about their Widevine level, and if we check out this DRM info, you can see that we are level 1. And what this means is with our favorite streaming apps like Netflix, HBO, Hulu, we can get HD content here. Without it, we'd be stuck with standard definition, and with a 2K display that looks this good, you definitely want to at least go up to 1080p. But even with Netflix and YouTube, we can go up to 2K here, no problem at all. And the CPU and GPU combo here has more than enough power to run those videos at full speed. 60 FPS, 2K, not a problem. And speaking of video playback, I figured I'd run a quick YouTube test. This is kind of one of my go-to tests. Right now we're at 1440p. This is an HDR 60 FPS video. It'll power right through it. And one thing I really do like about this is their speaker system. A lot of the higher end tablets do have quad speakers. We've only got dual here, but with Dolby Atmos built in, it does sound really good. And even though it's such a small tablet, it's actually got some bass to it. In fact, the old Amazon Fire 10 was actually pretty decent, but it had a plastic shell which made it sound really tinny. Since we're working with an aluminum unibody here, it does sound much better in this one. Next thing I wanted to take a look at were some benchmarks that I ran, and the first one here is Geekbench 6, single core, 946, multi 2320. Compared to higher end tablets on the market, it's not knocking anything out of the park, but when you compare it to other Amazon tablets, this thing is definitely the highest scoring that we've seen so far. Checking out a GPU benchmark here with 3D Mark Wildlife, total score 1099. Would have been nice to see a higher score here, and that's really why I was hoping for that G71 GPU instead of the G52. It's just a much better performer. But the final one I ran here was Antutu. We got a total score of 429,495. Now, comparing this to the phone you have in your pocket right now, it might not look like much, but a lot of these lower end or cheaper tablets don't score anywhere near this. And again, these are all synthetic benchmarks. So now I want to move over to some real world gaming, because that's really why I picked these tablets up. I personally still love doing some Android gaming and emulation on these tablets, and I was really surprised by what this thing can do. Now, we're starting out light here with Minecraft. Obviously, this will run on basically anything. I didn't have to change any of the settings. We're at 12 chunks here. We've got fancy graphics on. By the way, I'm using an Xbox One controller connected over Bluetooth. This is one of those games that just works with the controller natively, no setup required or third-party app. Diablo Immortal is another one that actually runs, but I did have to go to low settings. And from the settings here, on certain devices we can go up to 60 FPS. Unfortunately, it's locked here at 30, so we're at low 30 FPS, but it's a playable experience. Of course, we had to test out Call of Duty Mobile. Again, still using that controller. We're at medium settings, 60 FPS, and yeah, I expected it to run really well. I've had really good luck on lower end chipsets, and I think the developers have done a bang-up job with this game. You know, allowing basically anybody with an Android phone to play this, whether you gotta go to low settings, medium, or maxing this thing out. So the 3 Android games we've taken a look at so far run very well on the Fire Max 11, but one that we always like to test is Genshin Impact, because if you play this game on Android, you know how hard it can be to run. Unfortunately, we still don't have native controller support for Android, but we can use the built-in touchscreen. Low settings, 30 FPS, kind of like Diablo Immortal. Taking it up any higher, you're going to notice a lot of stutters, a lot of slowdown, and even at low settings, 30 FPS, you'll see it kind of stutter every once in a while. But it's still pretty impressive to see that Genshin Impact can run on an Amazon Fire tablet. When the Amazon Fire 10 came out, I was kind of hoping we could do this at the lowest of the low settings, but it was basically unplayable. If I had to guess, it was running at about 17 FPS, and even now we're at 28 to 30, given that I have this set to 30, but you can play Genshin Impact on the Fire Max 11. Now it's time to move on to some emulation, and PSP has kind of been a big one on these Fire tablets, especially something like God of War Chains of Olympus or Ghost of Sparta. We've had really bad luck with these Amazon Fire devices in this game, but with the new Fire Max 11, we're at 2x resolution, Vulkan back-end, running this game at 60 FPS. So if we're able to run this game at 2x, the easier to run games can upscale a lot higher than this. Also wanted to test out some Gamecube emulation using the Dolphin emulator, 1x resolution, Vulkan back-end, and surprisingly, even Auto Modellista runs pretty decently. Still got some dips, not even into the mid-50s, down to around 57 FPS, but yeah, I kind of wasn't expecting it to run it this well at all. I figured we'd be in the 40s with the setup we have here. And finally, some PS2 using AetherSX2. Now I will admit I did have to drop the resolution down on this quite a bit, 0.75x, Vulkan back-end, Gran Turismo 4, but to see this running decently, at least at a playable frame rate, is pretty important for these Fire tablets. This means that a lot of the easier to emulate PS2 games are going to run just fine on this device. Okay, so first impressions here. This is easily the best Amazon Fire tablet they've released so far. It is coming in more expensive, and we've got a much better build quality. With all of the other ones, they were all plastic. This does have a metal backing to it. Really beautiful 11-inch display. Lots of connectivity with Wi-Fi 6 and Bluetooth 5.1. They also offer that stylus and keyboard attachment. In terms of raw performance, this has nothing on the Samsung Galaxy Tab S8 or a lot of the other more expensive tablets out there, but a lot of people don't want to spend $700 or even $500 on a tablet. This one's coming in at $229, the base model, 64 gigs of storage, and that's the exact one that I have here. So if you did like the performance you saw in this video, then this might be something for you. If you're in the market for a cheaper tablet, not the cheapest on the market, I do consider this a budget, given that we do have $1,500 tablets out there, like the Galaxy Tab S8 Ultra, then this could be a great tablet for you, especially if you go ahead and install Google Play on it, which it's really easy to do. You're going to download Fire Toolbox, install it to a PC, plug the tablet in, press a couple buttons, and you'll be up and running. But so far, been really enjoying this. On average, I've been getting around 12 hours of battery life out of it. That's kind of a mix between gaming, web browsing, and video playback. They do claim 14 hours, and that's going to be 14 hours of video playback. But yeah, with what we have, I do think that this is a great little option if you're looking for an inexpensive tablet. Well, if you're looking for a tablet that's under $300. But that's going to wrap it up for my first look video. I will have at least one more coming. I want to install a bunch of different emulators on this and see exactly what we can do, from 3DS up to even Nintendo Switch. So if you're interested in seeing a video like that, make sure you hit that subscribe button and think about turning notifications on. But if you want to learn a little more about this tablet or maybe pick one up, I'll leave some links in the description. But that's it for this one. Like always, thanks for watching.